not a superhero. And I think that really defines a lot of our experience here.
And it's just something you don't really think about when you've not been around it all of your life.
That this is a valuable learning experience, not only to learn about Costa Rica, the biodiversity, but also to discover something about yourself that you might have not known.
But it's really important. You might be a freshman, but college is not that far away.
I'm Edmund Wen. I'm a high school junior, currently attending San Marino High School in Southern California.
My name's Anna Humboldt. I'm a sophomore and I go to the Hucker School, which is in San Jose in the Bay Area.
And so my name is Sherry Lee, and I'm from San Marino High School. I go to the Arcadia IvyMax Center, and I am currently a junior.
I'm Austin. I go to Lower Country Day, and I'm a junior right now.
My name is Luis Siles. I'm from Costa Rica, and I'm the program coordinator for IvyMax in Costa Rica. So I've been working with IvyMax for the last year, taking care of the projects here in the country. It's that 26% of the territory in Costa Rica is protected by the law. The 4% of the biodiversity of the world is located in Costa Rica, but we are not a rich country. We don't have the resources to cover all the needs, in order to protect the whole country. So we need help. So we need people who can come and help us to protect what is already protected by the law. We don't want to lose those areas, so that's why we need help. Well, first of all, I create a list of the expectations, and then I contact the organizations as well and ask them what are their needs. When I contact them and we have the initial conversation, we set a meeting in order to see the needs, that I can see them, I can analyze if it is a real need or not, and then that's I match it up with the information that I receive from groups. Work in several projects, school painting, recycling, reforestation. Also, we have work in conservation awareness, beach cleanup, animal monitoring as well, due to the diversity that we have here. The value of conservation. Costa Rica is known as a country because of its conservation. We are famous because of that worldwide, right? So we have a lot of sustainable programs. Last year, as an example, 365 days of the year, the electricity in Costa Rica was generated by sustainable resources. Wow. The whole year. So those are the things. That's why we are an example to the world, and that's what I want them to learn.
To answer that question, I really want to share one specific experience where our group was on the ranger station shift, and we were told to construct a wooden fence behind a shack that probably contained an electrical generator of some sort. And when we spent a lot of time moving around trash, not knowing what to do because we were getting different instructions the whole time, but eventually we were able to conclude by building that fence. But then when we came back the next day, we saw that our fence was completely gone, which is slightly disheartening. But at the same time, we're still able to see a lot of the progress that's been making, especially when Luisa, one of the local leaders of the community for the projects, was able to tell us about the impact we're having, which is really cool to see.
This trip, at first, we had a little bit of problems with communication because unlike last time, not all of the members of my group knows how to speak Chinese. So we have different language just going on. Even our advisor didn't know how to speak Chinese, and one of the members of our group didn't know how to speak Chinese. So I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning I was not doing very well as a leader to help group everyone to encourage everyone to be more inclusive. I figured out that this was a problem somewhere during the second or third day, and I got a little meeting. I told everyone, hey, from now on we're just gonna speak English. Let's not speak Chinese anymore. It was at the beginning it was a little bit rough, but at the end we got together as a group and we got a lot of work done. We were really productive. So I feel like definitely the skill of communicating with each other. And so it's trips like this that makes me realize that sometimes not everyone perhaps in your group or here is some people you want to hang out with, but sometimes you have to be tolerant towards them and accept their differences in order to obtain a bigger common goal in the end.
I think the biggest thing I learned is that essentially just the importance of an individual within the community, but also the whole perspective on what it means to volunteer. Not necessarily even just in an official sense, but also just to help other people out or be part of any team, like a sports team, a robotics team, a speech and debate team. It's just that at the end of the day, every individual has their own talents and whatnot, but those talents should all make up, can all become part of a whole. For example, individuals can have their own projects, but at the same time, they can also be part of larger projects, and it's important to recognize your own position within those communities so that you can best contribute to them. And so going forward, I think I'm going to spend more time being introspective about my relationship to the communities that I have built and have been built by. And by being introspective, I want to better contribute back not only to those communities, but also to those outside of them.
With IvyMax students, they have a very strong commitment with the program. It is not just about coming to Costa Rica, volunteering here. It's more than that. They go beyond. Lots of the students, they start preparing things before coming to Costa Rica. And once when they finish the program here, they go back home, they continue working with any of the programs that they worked while they were here in Costa Rica. Definitely. As an example, recently they were on the news. And I've been listening to some of the comments that people gave, and one is like, yeah, they're an example, and that is the idea. I mean, they are giving example to others, and definitely people see them, people know them, that they are very young, and what young people are doing around the park, what they are doing around the school. For example, this opportunity, what they're doing like on December 31st or January 1st, working at the school, and people see that.
We've talked a lot with some volunteers and some people here who manage all of these big organizations that are working with the environment, and one of the main things they say is they need money. And as you know, as mercenary as that might sound, we do need to raise money in order to bring more awareness so that people can host more activities and just create a larger events in order to bring that awareness to the foundations. So maybe creating a website to raise awareness, talking to your principal at your school, the leaders of your local community, to tell them like, this is an issue that's happening in a place in Costa Rica that I went to, and I'd really like, and it's something I'm passionate about and I want to draw more attention to, because especially in Silicon Valley we have so many resources to help these people, whether it's like, you know, website or create a charity or have a fundraiser, etc. And I think it's also valuable just to take the work that we're doing here and continue them in the United States. Just because there's a lot of plastic consumption here in Costa Rica does not mean that Bay Area is perfect in terms of reusing everything and not littering, etc.
Sure.
So you take the things that you're preaching here and just continue them back in the US, because it's not something that we should only focus on here. It's a worldwide campaign. And so just make sure to continue these efforts wherever you are.
I think like there's non-toxic Irvine or like non-toxic cities. We could work on bringing that into San Diego, because that would help with like, it would be in the same field as what we're doing here, like protecting biodiversity. And also we could potentially look at like, say, trying to move Geoporter to like San Diego. And I think that IvyMax can help with that. Like, number one, with non-toxic cities, it's like an IvyMax partnered program. And with Geoporter, think I could just like, it would just be that GeoPorter was like, we connected with GeoPorter through like an IvyMax sponsored service trip, and so we could like use that connection through IvyMax to like, communicate with GeoPorter.
I think for that purpose, I want to reaffirm the way, like, I guess, continue pursuing my STEM aspirations, because I believe that in the future, utilizing technology will be a really big part of us, of helping to conserve our environment. I definitely think the biggest one would 100% be communication, because before coming to this trip, I only knew like 3 people on the trip, which is actually an exception. Most people don't know anyone. For example, like, even though we're all from California, we're basically all from different schools. And so when you are put in an environment, foreign weather, foreign food, foreign people, well, not really foreigners, but people you don't even know, and you have to collaborate on a big project that as important as biodiversity, it's important to communicate not only your own interests, but also to disclose your own concerns and your observations, because those can then be utilized for, I guess, coordinating future actions, which is the most, I guess, being able to communicate with others is important to others as well, because they need that information to coordinate their future actions.
Well, right off the bat, I can think that the Costa Rica trip helps me with leadership in like any field, because I had to deal with some slightly troublesome group mates that I thought they were going to be a really big problem at first, but then I realized that if I'm patient and I work with them, I can still make them like a cohesive part of the group.
Especially this trip helped develop more leadership qualities in me, because we're given more responsibility to look after our groups, and as a co-leader, you have to make sure that everyone's organized, everyone's on top of things, and when it comes to like final projects and stuff, that you're working hard and that your group mates are working hard. So both of these trips have helped with leadership, also teamwork, just because we're working with a large number of students, and if you're not communicating with the people around you, then nothing will happen. I think these service trips have honestly opened my eyes to the world. You see problems that people in rural areas of Kathmandu, Nepal, or Deosa, Costa Rica are going through, and it just shows you what those problems you don't even think about when you're living in like the Silicon Valley and you're immersed in like, you know, college and like jobs and internships and stuff.
So I just feel like this program, not only are we helping the community, not only are we helping the locals, it also promotes self-growth and self-improvement. After these 2 trips, it definitely taught me how to be a better leader and how to organize groups and make sure everyone works together better. Yeah, the other thing about this program is that it really helps you think about helping the community, because I know a lot of us mainly just stay home, you know, play video games, go to school, get 4.0 GPAs. But I mean, what is the meaning of that, right? To get into a good college, then what are you gonna do? So I feel like community, after you experience all sorts of things like this, it really makes you think how you can help your community, how even a small change that you make can help save the world.
IvyMax has definitely helped me, not only in terms of like just my academic record and making sure that I know how to prepare myself for the future, but also with all of these extra opportunities. Like, I went to Costa Rica, I went to Nepal, and it gave me the opportunity to branch out, not just in terms of like school-wise, but also in terms of I get these new opportunities to go international in my experience.
Well, first off, I took an SAT camp with IvyMax, and that was pretty helpful. I think my first SAT test score was like a good 100-something points lower than what I actually got.
Okay.
And also, preparing for summer camps is helpful, because like when my mom and I go look for summer camps, we always find the summer camps that are kind of like second tier, like low tier, like the ones that don't even have applications. You kind of just sign up for, and you know that it's not that great if you can just sign up for it and there's no applications. It's nice to like know that I'm going going to be trying to get into a summer camp that's more competitive and be better because of it?
Yes. When working with IvyMax, I think it's important to take advantage of the opportunities that they provide for you, because a lot of the times you won't get the privilege to work with an organized group on a lot of these issues, but at the same time, remember to view yourself not only as part of a group, but also see what you can do as an individual, because each person's from different places and each person has different, advantages and disadvantages to their personality and their different talents. And so you should I think future prospective students should strive to finding ways to apply their personal strengths to contribute to the larger group. Well, first of all, I would tell them to bring lots of bug spray and remember to apply sunscreen, because that's going to be a constant struggle. But at the same time, I want them to remember that these constant struggles are merely just another aspect of life in a different community, and that they should also strive to focus on how their small role as an individual can then apply to larger ones before then reflecting on how that can impact themselves in the community, on their own communities.
Should rest up before the trip because it's going to be really tiring as well, and come here with the mindset to work. You're not here just for like the hours or anything, because if you're here just for the hours, you'll have a really bad experience, because the other members will be trying to get you to work, but you don't really want to work because that's not what you're here for. They'll just be like constantly pushing you and stuff. But if you come here with the mindset at work, I think that you'll be able to flourish in the service trips. You'll have a really great time too.
Well, I definitely say go because you're interested in learning about the culture of that specific place, and go because whether or not, based on your interest in what we'll be doing. As I said before, Costa Rica is a lot about the environment. We're really immersifying ourselves into speaking with the people, improving their own awareness of the environment they're living in, so that we can basically better the environment of this area.
So would you say that you would return to Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Especially, during the summer and winter, coming to trips like this. It's really fun because, what are you gonna do at home by yourself, You're playing video games. Well, it's not, like, coming here, you have a lot of friends, you make a lot of new friends, you get to talk to them every single day. It's really fun, If not for the volunteering experience, for the bonding experience by itself, it's definitely worth it. I'm gonna tell an honest story. My brother actually didn't want to come at all to the last trip, and a little bit hesitant on this trip because he has busy work at home and for school. However, obviously the last trip turned out great. He did not regret anything. This trip, he did not regret, and he will probably come back another time if more of his friends are coming back.
Because we need to give back. We need to give back to the planet, to others. We need to help people that they don't live in the same conditions that we do. We need to protect. We need to protect what we have.
Come with an open mind. I think that's a lot of things one major thing that students here who've been coming from the United States have learned. Because again, this is not something we're used to. The food, the culture, just the places where we're staying at. And it's not realistic to come with the expectation that everything's gonna be perfect, that we're gonna get like American food every single day, that we're gonna be living in like the best lodgings. We have to understand that our work here is to improve their community. And so come knowing that maybe not everything will be perfect, but you are working to make this place better.